My name apparently is still Chris.
I'm still Kristie. Come on.
This is the Washing Up podcast.
Rally, we've all been through it with you, Chris. Come on.
Okay.
Buck up, Bucky boy.
No. We're not going back there. It's been
1 week since you looked at me.
It's been quite a week here in Pedestrian Food Week, and so obviously we had South Australian Week last week, and Gordon Ramsay and Nigella Lawson.
Yeah.
This week's Pedestrian Week, and
Except for last night, Aldo set up a beautiful
plate of stuff that looked like it had just all fallen in the one spot.
compostable food.
And for some, it looked like somebody had gone to the compost heap and fetched a whole pile of things, including some carrots.
Delicious compost.
Delicious compost. Our Wolf Task is awesome, but yeah. So it's been. Look, I can't lie. It's been a really crappy week so far.
Yeah,
like
uninspiring. We've hit a hump.
More than a fucking hump. So
the size of Everest.
So we got the Vespa last.
Shape of Trump.
We got the Vespa last night. We got the Vespa last night, but in reflection only, which kind of I think sums up much of this week. That we didn't even get full Vespa. Tonight the Vespa was only in the background as they could have closed the doors. So you kind of know. Now Gary last night was talking about their Aloe Wolf Tasker challenge, and before she got in there, he's like, "You need to feel the recipe." I was waiting for him to add to.
Was it in Braille?
I was waiting for him to say, "Commune with it."
Yes, just let it flow through you.
Bring its chakra in.
Yeah, I want you to open your chakras and just let the recipe channel itself through them, so that you embody them in a physical, mental, and spiritual sense.
What's your new age healer's character? It's Crystal Amethyst Powers.
Yes, Crystal Amethyst Powers. She likes to appear on Snapchat.
She does. It's
with
great.
Random filters.
It's great fun
in her different forms.
In her many different guises. So we sort of had Gary doing that, and then I really wanted Aloe Wolf Tasker, and I tweeted this out. I really wanted her to keep with the theme of like the night before and the challenge before, and produce like a Bunnings sausage. I just thought it would be cool. So
you've got 60 minutes to make me a Bunnings sausage.
Follow that up with some 2-minute noodles. Oh. You know what the challenge is?
Cheese on toast.
We're giving you 90 seconds. 2-minute noodles, we're giving you 90 seconds. What can you do with it? And we're stealing your sachet.
Oh.
So no Oriental flavour for you. You can work these things out all on your own.
But I like the chicken.
Well, there you go. This is the kind of to and fro that brings people to the podcast.
Indeed.
So George referred to this dish as achievable, which I just thought was a slap in the face to Aloe Wolf Tasker.
It's simple, but achievable. What did he say?
He goes, look, these are all elements. This whole dish is really achievable, but you've got to be on. Yeah. And like Aloe looked at him as if to say, what a fuck, Baldy? what do you mean? And I'm trying to work out. Sarah became pigeonholed so fast as Carrot Girl that I don't think she noticed.
No, it's like...
And now every time there's carrots, oh, well, Sarah should be able to dominate this challenge. It's carrots. I'm like, leave her alone.
The carrots. It's not an indicator of...
I mean, Sarah she played with the gods last night a little bit because she did say a couple of times, this is my week, this is my food, my style of cooking, and it very nearly cost her. The gods were tempting.
Because there was no tongue in cheek about that.
Now
it was firmly literal.
Now we had a couple of situations last night which were intriguing. The first one was Veloute was mentioned.
Oh God!
Yeah, I know, and like John just popped up everywhere. And we were talking about it last night.
I'm the new Milky Bar kid.
We were all tweeting about it last night.
Milky Bar Veloute, new flavour.
And the conversation that we all had around this was, can you think of anybody who's made a dish that was good, that has the sort of Masterchef notoriety that John has for white chocolate veloute? Even the Masterchef account tweets about it. Right? And look, we absolutely love Elena Duggan. Can you tell me specifically any of the dishes that Elena made?
No.
Right. What did John make?
White chocolate velouté.
There we go. Right. It's up there with For Nathan is probably the only thing that challenges it.
Yes.
And even then, no, can't For Nathan. It doesn't come close to white chocolate velouté. And every year now, they whenever they do the team relay challenge, it gets brought up. They've done a velouté a few times now. It gets brought up.
Never gets old.
Robert Harwood from Bake Off fame, and I use that word correctly, was trying to explain to a few people who were asking about it, what a velouté is, and he's like, it's definitely not made with white chocolate. And I just put up a photo that simply went, this man disagrees. It was the picture of John. And if you do a search on Google and search for John Masterchef, white chocolate velouté is the first thing that pops up in your searches. So that was an issue last night because there was velouté in the dish. Mm-hmm. We also had a lot of issues with reading the recipe. Sarah had the problem reading the recipe about the egg.
Yep.
And what to do with the yolk.
She's like, she pulled out these separated three beautiful yolks, or a beautiful yolk, and then was kind of hinted at very profusely that, like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'll just go back and check that recipe, shall I? Oh, the whole egg. All right.
And meanwhile, Lisa
still on the skin.
Lisa is very carefully cutting and deboning and going all the way through this duck. And they come over and look at her. What are you still doing? And Ella, she's like, oh, I've put a hole in the skin. I hope that's okay. There's a couple of holes in the skin. And Ella looks at her and goes, have you read the whole recipe? She goes, no, I'm just reading as I go. And she's like, read the whole recipe. And she reads down and is like, oh, I'm just going to hack it up anyway.
A few holes are fine. It's just pre-perforated. She can just tear it off. No need to hack.
Meanwhile, on the third bench,
yes,
the mistress of the Middle East.
Yes, goddess of the
no, she's
the
not
golf.
quite. Yeah, goddess of the golf. I was about to say you weren't going to say Gaza Strip because she's not.
No,
from there.
I'm
that's
like,
a different part of the world.
No. I'm like, they're going. There's a G there.
Yeah,
I know. I've illustrated this.
The goddess of the golf, the mistress of the Middle East, Hora, who was
the Empress of the Euphrates,
who was discussing many, many, many different pronunciations of her name last night too on Twitter, which made it even better.
Someone put up
Honda,
Huda. Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well, that came from Ben,
yes,
who pronounced it no less than 3 different ways. Yes. And we'll come back to Ben in a minute too, because I really do want to go into why is Ben getting all of the narration, because he probably shouldn't have it. So she's flying along.
Yep.
Not an issue in the world until
hold my beer.
Look,
well, she's Muslim, so I presume she doesn't drink. Hold my Diet Coke.
Hold my pomegranate tea.
No, tomato tea.
No, don't start me on fucking tomato tea.
Hold my tomato tea.
Hoda, you don't normally need advice from us because you're much wiser. But,
as a goddess, you should know.
Hot pans?
Hot pans and hands.
Don't just grab the hot pan. But what I loved about it, remember, Brendan nearly cuts his hand off with a Cobram bottle. It's panic stations. There is a nightmare going on. You've got a couple of people. Reese tonight slices through his thumb. You've got Lisa.
Full EMT team.
Lisa cuts herself. You've got all these people cutting themselves and hurting themselves. Chloe the other day burns her arm, and there's a full medic station moves in. Hoda burns her hand very badly. They put a bowl of ice water there. The nurse is trying to check on her. She's got one hand in the ice water and she's dicing with the other hand, going, I don't have time.
Garlic,
I don't have time to worry about that hand. I'll worry about it later. Like, is it hurting? And she's like, it's killing.
I'm sure she was going into shock. I'm just watching her skin go a little pale while that's going on.
It was absolutely incredible. And this brings up something we asked for tonight, because we're going to interweave this with Conversation Street. We're going to borrow a segment from the guys who are, formerly the Top Gear guys. Conversation Street. We're going to talk about, first of all, the fact that this year is the Kitchen Bites Back year.
It is. It's like...
And I found out the names, actually, because I wanted to find out.
The unsung heroes of the Masterchef kitchen.
Libby and Aslinda, who are the two nurses.
Libby and
Aslinda.
Aslinda.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Who were...
Or is it Ashlinda?
That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
So we can correct it. If I'm wrong, they'll correct it, obviously. But shout out for keeping everyone alive. Because everyone seems to be trying to die this year in the kitchen.
It really is a one-upmanship. I didn't realise that Body Hack had such a...
everyone's
impact.
watching... Everyone's... I wonder if... Because Russell Howcroft, who manages 10, is obviously friends with Todd Sampson.
Yeah.
I wonder if he sent message down the chain going, my friend Todd nearly kills himself every week for the show.
Yeah.
Why don't you give it a go? What are we paying you for?
Masterchef Body Hack.
Yeah, Masterchef Body Hack 2 pieces. So it's been weird. Everyone's sort of dying around them in the kitchen this year, and
the weird kind of like thing of, oh, I'm so sorry, I cut myself and couldn't cut properly, which was Reese tonight. Or
Reese tonight I was cost by the fact that I nearly cut my hand off.
Yeah,
dude, Dude,
it's okay.
You nearly sliced your hand off and you're worried about the fact that you didn't get a shot at the second immunity pin. You know what that immunity pin's actually useful for? Nothing.
Just avoiding one immunity challenge.
And you know something, Reese, if you have the immunity pin but you cut the side of your hand off, you don't get to stitch it back on with the immunity pin.
I don't know. Maybe it's magical, and it'll just regrow.
Maybe they pin the hand back on with the immunity pin, and you needed the second pin to fasten front and back.
That's why Sashi's going to be fine.
Double clasp. Sashi will be great now. He can hold any limb on his body with 2 immunity pins.
He's just coming out with 2 cleavers, hacking away at meat, and they're like, Sashi, no. He goes, it's fine.
What we weren't aware of is not immunity in the show; it's life. They're genuine immunity pins.
Suddenly the stakes got really high.
Suddenly the show's got all meta.
It's gone all
No, Meta's already gone home. Week 2.
Highlander.
So there were a lot of people last night who were criticising the week, and look, it's gotten a bit worse.
It's only Tuesday night.
Yeah, we're not
only
even
3 nights in.
I know, and we were talking about it, and with off the back of the Optus stuff for the World Cup, and Marco tweeted out, "I wish Optus was live streaming MasterChef." And a couple of other people complained that they thought that the dish just looked like a bit of a mess on a plate. And when you actually looked at all the elements, George, I'm loath to ever say this.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit right. Nothing on it was really ultra tricky. It was just you had to do a lot of things and then
assemble it in the right proportions.
Yeah, assemble it in the right proportions and don't have those carrots be crunchy.
No,
that's a sin.
Yeah, you'll displease the Allah, the wolf and the tasker.
The Allah wolf tasker will come and haunt you in your nightmares.
Just floating red glasses.
I did get
in a miasma of hair.
I did get one thing last night that I was very pleased with, though, and I have to give credit to Sarah here. So Sarah has a million things on the go. She's working really hard to make sure she gets everything done.
Yep.
And the gantry is being the gantry.
Yes.
And they're awesome. Don't forget you got your egg and you got your carrots on, and don't forget you got this in the oven and you got this to mix up. And Sarah goes, I know what I've got, guys. Can you all just be quiet and let me focus? I'm trying to think. And I'm just like, thank God, somebody finally told the gantry to shut their mouths. Now, I feel sorry for the gantry because I have no doubt at all that there was a producer going, come on, gantry, we need more from you.
Rev it up. Not loud enough.
I don't.
Someone say her name.
Like, for example, I don't believe that Ben...
Do you think the producers are going, say her name, then give unsolicited advice. Now, go and say her name. No?
No. So...
Right.
I don't believe, though, that Ben is just giving random unsolicited advice to professional chefs. I get the feeling that he's up on the gantry and the producers get a whisper through their headpiece going, get Ben to say something really obvious. Just give him a hint. Hey, Ben? Yeah? do you want to just, tell him that he's gonna need to up his game a little bit? The pressure's on. Yeah, no, it's fine, mate. Hey, the pressure's on. That good? And we've got to take.
Wrong one. It's the heat.
Let's talk about Ben the narrator, shall we? Look, I like Ben. I genuinely like Ben.
Love his journey. Love watching him progress.
I love him progress from somebody who came into this competition wanting to cook meat to somebody in this competition who wants to cook meat.
It's a bit weird, right? He started off as the seafood dude, like he was the go-to. I go out crabbing, go out fishing, blah, blah, blah. And then he became meat dude.
So he's surf and turf. But he started off with seafood, but seafood with meat. And he's just progressed to meat. If anything, he's regressed because he's dropped the seafood part. Because he's had a couple of goes at seafood in challenges and it hasn't gone well.
Well, filleted salmon, all right.
He did. But
other people just couldn't cook it properly.
I like Ben.
Yeah.
But why is...
I don't think his strength is narration.
Thank you for phrasing it in a way that's delicate. Because some people are supposed to do the voiceovers and the shots to camera. And some people are probably not supposed to do every week. And poor Ben, you can tell that half the time he has zero enthusiasm for it. And they've just sort of said, we need you to do a few shots, mate. And he's probably just a really likeable, laid-back guy. He's going, no, I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever.
Yeah, I've noticed they've been able to get Khan to do more because obviously Michelle's not there egging him on to swear a lot.
Yeah, they're not swearing in the background.
We don't hear from Kristen a lot.
They don't do a lot anymore.
We don't hear anything from Chloe.
Jess doesn't really. Samira rarely does them.
Samira.
Outside of where they have to do the voiceovers, it seems like they've got It seems like they've got Sarah.
Yeah.
They've got Sarah doing a lot of them. They've got Ben doing a lot of them.
Yeah. Sashi will only talk when really Sashi's doing something himself.
Reese just put a camera near him, and it's the Reese show. But there's really only a couple of them. I wonder if the rest of them just told the producers to fuck off.
Woody's just like, I'm not fucking talking.
Woody's like, my hand is throbbing. You got to be fucking kidding me. I'm not giving them advice. My hand is falling off. Like, you've seen Star Wars. It's a bit like that. So we had a situation.
George came over. Huda, I am your father.
No! One time where that would actually work. Matt Preston.
The crotchety cravat.
The crotchety cravat was back. I think we need to investigate your theory a little bit more too. I think the judges need a holiday.
There's something off. Even Shannon Bennett tonight was quite...
Shannon Bennett was a prick a bit tonight. They were all a bit...
Start of it. I think they're trying to get him to be be critical of the food.
He changed after Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, maybe he got a bit shirty. He's like...
I wonder if they all got advice to be more like they'd expect Gordon to be. Not what Gordon actually is, by the way, but what they expected Gordon to be.
I just don't think... I think he's a chef, not an actor, because when you're told as an actor to inspect something, that's improv 101 when you got, like Shannon Bennett did, and just stare at this quizzically and
nodding
profusely and questioning it poorly. I just don't think... there's something off. Do you think he was worried because his ex-chef was coming in tonight and was worried he'd be hit up for a bill? Like, you owe me?
I reckon so.
Andy walks in and serves up an industrial relations.
Comes in and goes, you screwed me over, Shannon, for the last time.
Yeah.
Your reputation you keep talking about, I'm here to fuck it.
Yeah. Give me back my tips, bitch.
So we had it was a really weird night.
Yeah, and Gary last night, mansplaining everything.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. So he mansplained Alla Wolf Tasker.
Yes.
Like, she told them about the dish, and then he went, that's great, and then proceeded to say it again.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have understood, because you see, Alla Wolf Tasker identifies as a woman, and therefore what she says can't be trusted. And so we need a person with a penis to come along, or who identifies as a man, to come and tell us exactly what's going on so we know, because we wouldn't have understood it otherwise.
It was fucking ridiculous is what it was. So, Horta, they tried to stir up the idea that the carrots were a bit firm, but Ella Wolf Tasker wasn't hearing it. She's like, the carrots are a bit firm. She goes, but I can live with that because the flavour's great.
And I just loved her subtle empowering of women thing, like just her little perk up at the end of it, like when she was judging. And then Gary, of course, had to butt in and go, do you know how important this moment is to get this feedback from Ella Wolf Tasker?
Yeah, Gary, I did. That's why I was listening to Ella Wolf Tasker speak.
Yeah.
I felt the judges just undercut everything she did last night, and I didn't particularly like it. So
you wouldn't catch them doing it to a male chef coming in.
Oh fuck no.
If they did that to Gordon Ramsay, oh my god, he would storm off set.
So, what do they try to stir up the idea that carrots are too firm? Didn't really work because Ella said no, the flavour's too good. Then we had, again, the judges are disagreeing a lot more this year too, which I think is designed as a bit of a look where it's really close this year. The judges don't even agree.
Yeah.
But it's not really working and it's not really effective because Lisa had a couple of issues with regards to like how messy the plating was, and there were a couple of issues with Lisa's elements, and Sarah just forgot the chestnut puree.
Yeah.
Now,
I do that when I'm under stress. My brain will just forget things.
Thomas,
you hear it on the podcast all the time. I'll go say a word, can't remember it.
Now Thomas on Twitter, who has finished with the show after last night,
he's like, Lisa's gone.
He stormed off in disgust and not coming back. But I agreed with him. He was talking about the idea of elements and all the elements need to be in balance and harmony. And he said Sarah legitimately left an entire element off the plate. How is that less out of balance than having everything on the plate? Like, they could be slightly out a little bit, but she just left, like, one of the key elements, the sauce, off the plate.
She didn't leave the carrots.
But didn't leave the carrots, indeed. It's Sarah. She wasn't allowed to leave the carrots. She's carrot lady, apparently. So Sarah, by the barest of margins, goes through. I personally thought she was done. And I thought that Lisa was a bit unlucky, but I thought that, look, either of them who went was probably going to be fair. Huda definitely deserved to stay.
Because we're biased like that.
We are biased like that, but also she deserved to stay.
Yeah, she did.
Which brings us to tonight. Now, I think the last tweet I put out last night was if either of these two win a second pin, and it was the gif of the guy throwing the laptop out the window. Well, the laptop is sitting in front of me, but Sashi has a second pin. So before we get into that,
yes,
because we are going to get into that in a minute.
Okay.
But before we get into what happened with the challenge, we need to ask some questions.
Okay.
So I put a call out for conversation topics.
Yes.
And I got it,
folks. 1-800. We don't have a number.
So my favourite one of the questions tonight was from Josh, who asked, "Can you plan a hypothetical TV series for Aldo?"
Hypothetical TV series for Aldo. Okay. I would like it to be FaceTime with my nonna. Okay. And he goes around to different people's houses, kind of like, remember the surprise chef in the supermarket?
Yes.
But he's got his nonna, and his nonna gets to pick the person because he's got his nonna on FaceTime. And she's like, oh, that one over there, Aldo. And maybe he's he's got a little doll with like the FaceTime on top, so it's like a little nonna doll, nonna puppet with nonna's face on it in the FaceTime. And they go up and then they take them home and they cook. And you just have nonna, and Aldo being awesomely Aldo.
I've got a similar suggestion.
Okay.
Family.
Yes.
Rings up Aldo because they want a really delicious dinner to surprise somebody they love.
Yeah.
Right? So Aldo's in the kitchen, but he's only cooking meatballs. Right? It's the only thing he's allowed to cook. Right? And he talks to the family while he's cooking and gets their story and shares some stories about his nonna while he does that. And then the loved one comes home and they go, surprise! And Aldo puts the plate on the table and he goes, that's balls! And that's the series.
It's called That's Balls.
Aldo presents That's Balls. And all you get is people walking into random rooms with Aldo putting a plate on the table and going, that's balls.
Another one. I'd like Pep Squad Aldo. So you write in about a friend of yours or someone in your family that might be struggling, having a hard time, or they've got like a crucial thing coming up. It could be like a sports game. It could be a job interview. It could be anything like that before the HSC. And you just get Aldo there for like 2 full days, like pepping you on, like every single turn. You wake up, there's Aldo cheering you on, cooking you breakfast, cooking you cornflake panna cotta for breakfast. There is, like, you walk into work and you're having a bit of a shit day, and there's Aldo who comes out with like some biscotti and a coffee. And
my other show idea that I have is it's just you cut to a shot. It's a single room, a chair, one of the big wingbacks, Aldo, smoking jacket, just telling stories relating to his nonna, but with a deep meaning. Yeah. And the show is just simply called Aldo's Allegories. As you can see, I've worked all of my concepts and ideas title back.
You have.
Right.
I don't even have titles for mine. What do I want to see Aldo do?
Okay, so I want you to give me feedback on Twitter at the washing up. I want you to tell us what show would you pick for Aldo? It can be one of ours or one of your own. I want to see a title if you come up with one of your own too. Again, if you like That's Balls, if you like Aldo's Allegories, if you like FaceTiming with Nonna, or how are we going to describe that last one? Pep Squad Aldo.
Pep Squad Aldo.
Right, any of those concepts, let us know if you've got your own, and we want to pitch them all. We want Aldo to feel like at the end of this that he's got a future in television.
Yep.
Speaking of people with a future in television, it's really a bad segue because I don't really think any of them have a future in television. Andy does, however. Andy was a very popular guest chef tonight.
You could say he works at the QT, and a lot of people consider him a QT.
I'm looking at a couple of you, Kira. Brandon. Who were quite happy. Brandon, I think, wants him to replace George. I'm okay with that.
Quite frankly, unless you're putting a serial killer in, I think you could possibly replace George with anyone.
Well, Joe pointed out, was it Joe tonight? No, I can't remember what it was, but someone pointed out, I think it was Joe. If Peter Russell Clark walks in, I'm done. So let's go back to the start, because the challenge tonight to get to immunity. Okay. I thought we'd hit a new low with chicken schnitzel being the immediate through.
No, apparently you can pretend to be...
We can go even further.
A pretend apprentice.
Challenge number 1.
Aspiring apprentice.
Challenge number 1.
Do you think he wanted to say you're fired?
I think he did. Challenge number 1. Can you cube 3 different lots of vegetables for me? Can you cube them into tiny cubes? He gave an exact thickness, but then didn't measure any of them.
He was,
I wonder if he was just looking for cheap labour.
He had a catering job afterwards
that weekend, and he's like, "I'm now. This is like a job interview. I'm here watching you. I'm going to give you a job at Verdemont." And I'm like, "No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're not employing any of these people."
If a woman Gina's age came up to you, Shannon, and said, "I want a job at Verdemont," you would ignore her,
or you get her to wash plates.
Yep.
So
you'd go. We're full of cleaners. I have a contractor. Here's their company. Go.
So the first challenge tonight was dice something small. The second challenge, which, by the way, the first challenge, Reese was the one out after the first challenge because he decided to dice his hand into 20 pieces.
Yeah. Okay, Reese, just break it down. What they wanted was the carrot, celery, and the onion, not your own flesh. This is not going Shylock. We're not going for a pound of flesh here. It
kind of gives you the idea that you get a bit of Stockholm syndrome in that kitchen, though. Because, Reese cuts his hand and immediately I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed you in the challenge.
Oh, my God.
It's an abusive relationship.
It's not just the contestants who are at the behest of the Masterchef gods. It's the judges as well. The whole building's become sentient and holding everyone captive.
It's on an Indian burial ground. I think we've confirmed that.
Yes.
So, the second challenge, again, immunity. We're halfway through the competition, as they told us last night. Right? So we're halfway through the competition. The second challenge for immunity, make a hollandaise.
My only complaint about that is that it wasn't served on a piece of sourdough with some salmon. And a poached egg. I was just after a bit of brekkie. I'm sorry, you mentioned hollandaise.
I know. And so the third challenge. So Gina goes home after the second one because Gina decided to try the, let's face it, never tested 1 egg hollandaise.
Well, she had to do that because she scrambled her first batch.
She did. So
good on you, Gina, for having a second crack at it. Guess it? Get it? Because you have to crack the egg.
Even if Shannon did point out that she had a whole pile of eggs just sitting there, you can use more than one, She's like, no, I'm only going to get one cooked. It's a hollandaise sauce. It's going to be fine. You really do have time to push it. Anyway, the third challenge, Sashi Khan. Winner take all.
Oh, I thought Khan had this. He was like boss bitch whisking this
Unfortunately,
caramel.
I knew it was Sashi by the fact they kept on focusing on Sashi going, I don't really have a recipe for salted caramel. I don't really know how to make it. I'm making this blind.
Now,
the producers gave it away again.
I just want to press pause here and say this is not Who Wants to Be a Fucking Millionaire or Sale of the Century, all right? We do not need this kind of sizzle. This kind of sizzle... One, his first pin was unfairly won, I believe, because justice for Samira.
He didn't even come fifth in the challenge.
No. And here we are, halfway through. Two people have been living with immunity pins for quite some time. They're pretty decent cooks, so we know they're relatively safe. And you want to make a big deal about a second immunity pin coming in. It was basically given as a given tonight. And that's what really fucking shat me.
They told you on the way in that he was winning.
We didn't. We as an audience are not invested in this. It's not someone who's had a crack twice and just missed out because they've been great cooks. No.
The problem that I have with the pin is if I'm Sashi, and look, he wins. And we're not going to go break down the challenge moment by moment.
He's a good cook. He's a good fucking cook, and that's what...
And he did deserve to win the challenge tonight. The problem was that I still don't think he should have had the first one, but be that as it may. The problem is, for the show, Sashi having the pin is not good. And they're trying to jazz it up to make it sound like it's good, but it's not good for Sashi to have a second pin. Up until the semi-final, he's basically untouchable.
Yeah.
Right? He has 2 pins. He is basically untouchable. People go, oh, but his team could find themselves in the challenge and he uses it. Well, yeah, okay, so he still gets 2 extra weeks. If you work out how many challenges that really makes for him to use it, if he doesn't find himself in the bottom couple in a single elimination challenge and it's only a team challenge, he buys himself 4 eliminations before he loses all the pins. By that point, you're almost at the end.
I know, and for me it's distracting. I'm really just torn because I love Sashi's cooking. He's really good at what he does. Look at that lamb you served up tonight and his accoutrements, his sauce. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm like, please don't cook a fucking curry because it'll be really fucking obvious to the judges. I'm glad he went with some elements, like with a spice mix and that kind of stuff. And he didn't go with the full-on curry because I think that would have just...
But he did then balance it out with the yogurt.
Exactly. Like, I'm liking his journey. I'm saying that about a lot of people, I know, but I really like where he's going. What's shitting me is the fucking context he's been placed in. Is that we're now concentrating on these shitty fucking challenges and this poorly executed hype.
Well, we talked about it the other day and we said that, why don't we just put Reese and Sashi straight through to the grand final and we're done and that's it. The next couple of weeks needs to be written off.
Yeah.
And it's not about those two. It's about the way they're being presented. We've talked a lot this year and last year in particular, we talked a lot about the way people were represented and presented on this show.
And what we're not getting to see in lieu of it.
And the problem is that they are focusing so heavily on these guys that I spoke to somebody today who watches the show, doesn't listen to the podcast and on social media. And I spoke to someone today and they went, I like the show, but I feel Samira's criminally underrepresented. I feel that I don't see much of this person. I feel I don't see much of that person. I'm seeing a lot of Sashi. I'm seeing a lot of Reese. I'm seeing a lot of, they mentioned Sarah as well, and they're like, I'm kind of overseeing them. And we're just seeing them every episode. And this is where the audience turns. And this is where, last year, poor Tamara copped it on social media completely unfairly about, she's the favourite, and then that wasn't helped by the fact that she got eliminated and the next challenge up happened to be the returning contestants and she won it because she was the last person out, so obviously she's the most up-to-date with skills.
Yeah.
So she got put straight back in and everyone just went, here we go, that's bias again. And it wasn't, but the way you present people doesn't help. Carly found herself in the same boat last year.
Yeah.
And that was when she made the sausage roll that wasn't a sausage roll. my first rant.
Yeah.
And that wasn't her fault in terms of that. It's the way it was judged when they ignored it.
Yeah.
You're not presenting people in a light that helps them, and people are just getting jack of it. To give you an idea,
Yeah.
the dishes we've had this week in what is supposed to be Australia's premier cooking show.
With some spectacular dishes served up.
Spectacular dishes according to the voiceover. We've had schnitzel, steak and veg, stacked mess on a plate featuring carrots, chopped vegetables, hollandaise sauce, salted caramel, lamb and peas.
Well, I'd like to start with the schnitty, because that's my go-to at the pub. And I'll try the salted caramel for dessert, thanks.
Nice, that's a wonderful, wonderful idea.
I'll go get the drinks, love.
I might go the steak and veg.
All right. You order here?
Not having the lamb and peas. I like the look of the lamb, but I don't like peas.
Do you think I've got time to go to the loo before our order's called?
Yeah, you do that. I'll get Keno. Right. It's underwhelming for Masterchef, and it just kind of feels like the producers ran out of things this week and went, don't have anything yet. Adriana Zumbo's next week. What are we going to do in the mean? I don't know. I don't know. We said it the other night. What's at the pub? Sweet. We'll do that. Mm-hmm. So the challenge ends up being Sashi, and I just feel like the representation is not the best for him. No,
because his food is so good and I'm getting distracted and I don't like it.
So let's distract from a little bit.
Yes.
Kim Spicer asks,
K-Spice.
due to its lack of a skeleton, the large octopus can squeeze through a hole the size of a tennis ball.
Right.
Could a small octopus, such as a blue-ringed octopus, squeeze its way up a person's butt?
That's a very poignant question and very pertinent, because I found out that one of my favourite swimming holes has a blue-ringed octopus in it. So
you've literally just said, after we talked about an octopus going up somebody's ass, one of my favourite swimming holes has a blue-ring octopus in it.
It does. Nice little pool down at Austinmere. Beautiful one day, perfect the next in summertime. Okay, so let's think about this. Now, I have seen octopi. They squish their heads down, like they just basically flatten through. They can undo jars.
They get out of fish tanks horribly and run around and steal things.
Look, I think if the person was unconscious and possibly in a position where their buttocks were exposed, say, it's quite plausible. But I think if that person's conscious and in clothing, they're going to notice.
I think so too. I think they're probably going to notice, and they might even be a bit of a, hey, what is that? Why are you trying to insert yourself on my person?
Exactly. And does an octopus actually want to go up an orifice like that?
I don't think I would.
Unless there's like a shellfish or something that its nose up there.
There's a tasty cuttlefish there. And my question as a follow-up to that is, why is the cuttlefish there? Yeah. That's probably a broader question than can the octopus fit. So the answer, Kim, is yes, it can. But why would you?
Yeah.
So
what's its motivation?
So with that in mind, let's go back to the most important thing we have to talk about tonight. Mm-hmm. I asked Robert.
Yes.
What is your go-to song in karaoke? And what was your favourite song at karaoke? Because we were karaokeing the other night.
Yes.
And his response was Easy by Faith No More, which wasn't actually at karaoke. You missed out on that. That was the car trip on the way out.
Oh.
Because we couldn't find it at karaoke. Because it was a karaoke in Chinatown and finding artists was nearly impossible.
But it was so much fun because the random shit that we found.
It was. And remind me again after this episode.
Especially for you.
Yes, your Jason Donovan came to the fore. So did Jason Waterfalls.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Leah.
Don't go Jason Waterfalls.
And far more importantly, I mentioned this last podcast. I'll get Kristie to remind me again. Little Macy Gray may make an appearance online after this podcast.
I will put her up.
You'll tweet her out now?
Yeah, you keep going.
All right,
you do the non-delicious filler, and I'll.
So my little Macy Gray impression will come out. These are all things we'd rather be talking about, by the way, than what happened on MasterChef this week so far. So Sashi gets his second pin. Everyone was cheering at the end of it, but I don't really know how happy I would be. You know, given that Sashi is now basically bulletproof against you. It would worry me if I was another contestant to see Sashi with 2 pins. Again, I hope they hold to the normal rule, which is that you can't play your pin up to the semi-final week. So once you get to semi-final week, you're stuck. That you can't play your pin when there's 4 left. So I hope that's what they hold. I hope that's what they hold to for the competition's sake. Otherwise, Sashi's just running to the final.
And, like, to be honest, like, the way Sashi is cooking, I couldn't see him bowing out anytime soon. Like, I think the immunity pins in his hands are really superfluous. I think he's got the skills and he's got the knowledge and, yeah, just the passion behind him that he will make it far. I think he's going far, that young man.
Look, he's a good cook.
Yes.
He's doing really well. There was a question asked as well, and we'll finish up with this sort of point.
Is it about octopi?
No, it's not actually.
Also, on the octopus front, right, I don't think an octopus would make it that far if you're out swimming with Aldo. So say if you're filming Pep Squad with Aldo, and an octopus does try and insert it to yourself, I think Aldo's just plucking it out. If it's edible, it's dead and on the barbie. So
I think so too. So two things came from this. First of all, Austenite on Twitter pointed out that, and her comment was, "I feel like I've been the cranky cravat tonight, but honestly it comes more from boredom mixed with disappointment. I feel like for an immunity pin, I wanted a lot more," which I agree with. I think that for an immunity pin, what we got tonight was very meh. The other sort of question that was being pointed out was, and this is again by Austenite, Masterchef needs to decide whether they want professionals or amateurs. Some of the pressure tests have been close to impossible under time constraints, and then the judges act shocked and disappointed when they don't achieve them. I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, reflecting on this series, there are a couple of things I can point out that are better than previous series. We don't have as much backstory. We're getting enough when it's relevant.
And we're not getting a sufficient... The backstory we are getting is sob story. We're not getting, like, good backstory. We're getting sob story a lot of the time.
Not this year, not really. It's more like this is my daily life. In previous years, we got a lot more tearjerkers.
We had a lot of crying about nonnas early on.
Yeah, but that's usual.
But we had a lot of crying about nonnas early on. Then we had a lot of crying about children when Chloe was up every week.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean. It's like, you know, when they do the video vignettes backstory.
Oh, they're really small this year.
Exactly.
They're painfully small this week.
They're not as proficient. So I think that's been done well.
And they seem random.
And even though it's kind of backfired a little bit in terms of how it's ended up coming out, I think the whole straight through to immunity reward is a much better thing than selecting the next ingredient.
I would change it up a bit, though. I wouldn't have it always be straight through. I would have, and again, I wouldn't give them the reward thing. I'd come up with something else. I don't know what it would be, but I'm not the producer. I'm not being paid a lot of money to produce this. But I would come up with something else so it doesn't then just become that's the same thing all week, and you know you only have to nail one cook.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, the contestants have all worked out, if you nail the first cook of the week, automatic immunity challenge.
Yeah, well, I'm cool with that. I'm actually cool with that. I think people deserve a little bit of a break, and I like to see people rewarded. I like rewards for positive behaviour. It's just...
Okay, what's the other problem I have with that, though, is that it's based off the mystery box.
Yeah.
And it's based off the 5 dishes being sampled. It's not off everybody, and it's off looks. So basically, if your dish is absolutely brilliant, but they for some reason decide the story around it or the look's not great, you don't get tasted. And so only 5 people then really get a shot at it, and it's 5 people who are picked arbitrarily.
Yeah, and we're not really shown what everyone else has cooked.
Yeah, like the other night when we mentioned about the bread challenge and we didn't realise, because you didn't see it, the Khan made banh mi.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it. And again, I've still got one challenge from the other week where I still don't know what the dessert was in the team challenge for that the other week because didn't see it. If you're going to go straight through to immunity, I don't think you can do it based off 5.
No.
I think everyone needs to be tasted for that.
So there could be there's room for a refinement there. It's an improvement, but there's still room for a refinement. Would you agree?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they need to fix that up a little bit more. So Sashi gets immunity. Sashi has 2 immunity pins. we move into another outdoor team challenge where this time it looks like they're cooking for random guests all coming in.
No, they're cooking for fireys. It's a fire challenge. It's fire for fire. They're cooking on outdoor fires for fireys.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's
Flashbacks.
handy. You burn shit, you set shit. If my mum was there setting shit on fire...
Do they have the fireys there to reward them, or do they have them there because they've seen what's happened in the kitchen this year?
Look...
And everyone's sort of burning themselves or cutting themselves, and they figure having fireys handy would probably help the nurses have a break.
Look, to be honest, if there was a few of the fireys there that appear in that calendar, I may be setting myself on fire. Oh no, I've dropped this hot coal on my pants and it's on fire. Someone come into... It's... Yeah, better rip them off me. That's the way... Oh, yes, beat me with that fire blanket. Like, I think it could get very distracting.
I think you've thought far too much about this, and I think that's probably our time to end. So that's your lot until Thursday night.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get a better couple of nights. I really hope we get a better couple of nights. I want to be positive. I want to be so positive.
But just remember, we're all here for each other. You know, it's a slump. Hopefully we'll be... like that little yodeling guy and say, oh, you know,
the Price is Right. Cliff.
Let's hope we're a bit like Cliff without falling off.
Without going off at the end, and hopefully we end up with that new TV. Mm-hmm. So up until Thursday, remember first of all to make sure that you get your Aldo TV shows in. That'd be really good. I'm still Chris.
I'm still Kristie.
We'll catch you all Thursday night.
Yodelay-hee-hoo.